Now, let me show you some examples using the homework. Let's see here. We want to solve the equation 3 to the negative x equals 1 over 81. So, in order to solve this equation, we have to rewrite 1 over 81 into something whose base is 3 and the exponent is some number. Since we know 81 is equal to 9 square, and because 9 is 3 square, so 81 is 3 square to the square, which is 3 to the 4th. Therefore, 1 over 81 gonna be 1 over 3 to the 4th. And then use the property of exponent. This will be 3 to the negative 4, which means 3 to the x equals 1 over 81 equals 3 to the negative 4. So x equals 4. Okay, x equals 4. Now let's take a look at this one. So here we have 64 to the 4x equals 16 to the x plus 1. Now, before we can solve this equation, we need to rewrite both numbers or both bases and to write them into the same base. Because 64 and 16, they share the same base. Because both of them can be written as the exponent 2 to something. Okay, since because 16 equals 4 square, which is 2 to the 4, and 64 is 16 times 4, which is 2 to the 4 times 2 square. So that is a 2 to the 6. Okay, so we go ahead to write 64 into 2 to the 6 and raise to the power 4x, and write 16 into 2 to the power 4 and raise to the power of x plus 1. Now next, use the property of exponent. The left-hand side will be 2 to the power of 6 times 4x. And the right-hand side will be 2 to the 4 times x plus 1. So our equation will be 2 to the 24x equals 2 to the 4x plus 4. By solving the equation 24x equals 4x plus 4, we have 20x equals 4, so x gonna be 4 over 20, which is 1 over 5. Now for quadrant number 12, we want to graph this function. Now, please remember that this function is not the standard exponential function, because the standard exponential function is fx equals b to the power of x. Now here we have a 2 to the x plus 4. This is a transformation. So this is like we are adding this number 4 after the function 2 to the x. And according to our previous study, this is called the vertical shift. So which means we are going to shift the graph. We are going to shift the graph of fx equals 2 to the x upward for 4 units. So let's consider we have function gx equals 2 to the x, and we know the graph looks like this. Looks like this. So it passes the point 0, 1. And right now we want to graph the function fx, and fx is equal to 2 to the x plus 4. So this is like we're going to shift the graph up for 4 units. So right now we will shift this point to here when it's 5. So the graph will pass, now the graph of fx will pass the point 5, and it looks like this, and it goes up to the right. So if we go back to the options, you will see the answer is the answer will be the first one. Okay. The answer will be the first one. And for number 13, this is another transformation. This is a reflection. This is a reflection. So this time, if we consider the function gx equals 2 to the x, and we know the graph of this function is like this. It also goes up to the right and passes the point 0, 1. Now, if we want to graph the function f of negative gx, so this will be a reflection with respect to the x-axis. So we're going to turn this graph, we're going to turn the graph of gx over the x-axis. So we will get something like this. We will get something like this. And if we compare this answer with the given options, you will see the answer will be D. So this point, now this point becomes negative 1. Okay, the point becomes negative 1.